We've all been there, sitting on the edge of our seats, heart pounding, completely invested in a fight. You see the story unfolding in the cage, the grit, the struggle, the moments of dominance. You've scored it in your head, you know who won. And then Bruce Buffer grabs the microphone, the judges' scorecards are read, and a collective, confused silence falls over the room. The wrong name is announced. The wrong hand is raised. It's a feeling of pure disbelief, a moment that makes you question the very fabric of the sport you love. For countless fans, fighters, and even the voice of the UFC himself, Joe Rogan, that exact moment is forever tied to one name, Jed "Flash" Gordon. As the UFC prepares to light up San Antonio this Saturday for another electric NocheUFC, a card celebrating the heart and fire of Mexican Independence Day, Jared Gordon is set to step back into the spotlight. He'll be facing the tough Rafa Garcia in a fight that promises fireworks. But for so many who follow the sport, it's impossible to look at Gordon's upcoming battle without looking back at the ghost of UFC 282. The night many believe he was robbed of the biggest victory of his career against one of the sport's most sensational stars, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. The perfect storm, hype versus heart at UFC 282. Let's set the scene. It was December 2022. The T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas was buzzing. The Paddy Pimblett hype train was at full steam, and it was an exhilarating ride. The charismatic kid from Liverpool, with his signature haircut and infectious personality, wasn't just a fighter, he was a phenomenon. He had taken the UFC by storm, and the promotion was clearly positioning him as its next big thing. His first pay-per-view, co-main event at UFC 282 felt like a coronation, another step in his seemingly unstoppable rise to superstardom. On the other side of the octagon stood Jared Gordon. He was everything Paddy wasn't. Gordon wasn't the flashy, outspoken star. He was the seasoned veteran, the blue-collar warrior who had clawed his way through adversity both inside and outside the cage. He was the ultimate test, the kind of gritty, durable fighter who doesn't care about your hype or your social media followers. He was there to fight, and he represented the soul of the sport, a tough-as-nails competitor who could expose any cracks in a rising star's armor. It was the classic MMA storyline, the meteoric riser against the hardened gatekeeper. Could Paddy's undeniable star power overcome Gordon's veteran savvy and relentless pressure? The world was about to find out. 3 rounds of disputed reality. When the cage door locked, the narrative that played out was not the one many expected. From the opening bell, Gordon seemed to have the perfect game plan. He didn't play into Paddy's wild striking exchanges. Instead, he closed the distance, pressed the Liverpool native against the fence, and showcased a dominant clinch and wrestling game. For long stretches of the fight, Gordon was in control, neutralizing Pimblett's offense and landing significant strikes of his own. The feeling among viewers was palpable. This wasn't a close, back-and-forth war. It felt like one man was successfully executing his strategy, while the other was struggling to find answers. Gordon was landing the cleaner shots and controlling the octagon. He was, by most accounts, derailing the hype train right before our eyes. By the time the final horn sounded, a sense of an impending upset hung heavy in the air. Fans, analysts, and even the commentary team seemed to be in agreement. Jared Gordon had done it. He'd walked into the lion's den and beaten the UFC's golden boy. The decision heard round the world. Then came the moment. The fighters stood in the center, awaiting their fate. Joe Rogan, calling the fight cageicide, had a look of certainty on his face. This was a clear-cut win for the underdog. But as the scores were read minus 29-28, 29-28, 29-28, all for Paddy Pimblett, the camera caught Rogan's expression, morphed from certainty to utter shock. He rolled his eyes, a silent, powerful indictment of the decision that instantly became the defining image of the controversy. The MMA community erupted. It wasn't just a few disgruntled fans. It was a tidal wave of disbelief from some of the most respected names in the sport. UFC icon and the ultimate arbiter of what's real, Diaz, didn't mince words. He took to X, formerly Twitter, with a blunt and brutal assessment. "Bruh, you, Pimblett, lost that fight." Coming from Diaz, a fighter who embodies authenticity, the statement carried immense weight. It was a stamp of disapproval from one of the sport's most influential figures.